Welcome back to the Idaho Victory Garden. This week we are going to be focusing on fruit production and in particular small fruits, so berries, grapes, and other garden fruits that can be grown without a lot of space and without some of the time and waiting required for tree fruits. We will cover tree fruits next week, but this week it's all about the little guys. So why do we want to think about berries? Well, for several reasons. I think they are a wonderful starter fruit for gardeners. They're ideally suited to many of our growing areas. No matter where you live, there is going to be a berry that will grow successfully for you. And it also, you can grow it in very small spaces, even in containers in some cases. So when you are choosing your small fruits, though, and your berries, your success is really going to depend on selecting the crops and varieties that are suited to your climate and soil. For example, there are several places in the state where blueberries will not grow successfully, but other places where they are going to be a great choice for you. And same with grapes. Some of them can be less cold hardy than others, so if you live in the most extreme weather conditions in the state, grapes may be a little bit more of a challenge for you. But we're going to go over each one in turn and talk about all of these different issues and opportunities with berries. This lesson in particular is going to focus on strawberries. So strawberries, one of the easiest fruits to grow. They are one of the most popular fruits worldwide, and I think that is because of their adaptability and their ease of culture. They can be grown in containers, in very small gardens. They can grow in a little bit of shade. They're very, very forgiving and for the most part inexpensive and easy to get started. There are a few different categories of strawberries though, and this is really going to help you determine how you choose which one you want to grow is really based on the kind of fruit that you want and when you want it. So we have a few different categories of strawberries. You'll see ones called June bearing, and you'll see some called ever bearing. Now this is kind of a misnomer. So the June bearing, they are setting their flower buds in the fall, and then what will happen the next spring is you will get a single heavy late spring or early summer crop. So depending on where you live, a June bear may bear in May, it may bear in July, but you'll get one sort of big condensed crop. So if you're a canner or a preserver or you want to freeze a lot of berries, this one is a good way to go because you'll get most of your crop at the same time. Now, everbearing is a little bit, that's the one that's a little bit misleading because that would lead you to believe that you were going to get fruit all the time, year round. That's not really true. It's more of a bi-bearing. So it bears twice, two big crops, one in the spring and one in the summer because it's setting its flower buds two times. Like the June bearing, it sets buds in fall, so that crop will show up in early summer, but then it sets fruit again after that first harvest, and so then you get kind of a fall crop. So you'll get two moderate crops that may add up to the single crop you would have got in a June. The one that is most confusing, but really is the most ever bearing of all the strawberry varieties, is the day neutral. So a day neutral will set flower buds all throughout the spring, summer, and fall, and so you're going to get a fairly steady stream of berries. So not all of them all at once, but a few continually throughout the season. So if you're more of the gardener that wants to have a few fresh strawberries on your cereal or your oatmeal throughout the summer, then day neutral might be a really good choice for you. And we're going to post some variety lists online on the course material site so that you can research which varieties fall into which category and help you make a decision if you're planting new berries. So what are some of the problems with strawberries? Well, like we said, they are easy to grow, but they also do suffer from some fairly common issues. Probably the most annoying and prevalent problem are weeds. Strawberries are not very competitive plants. They do try to form a dense mat, but they are not competitive with weeds, and weeds can really get in there and cause problems, especially grassy weeds. So if you're starting from scratch with a new strawberry bed, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to make sure that that bed is really, really weed free when you get started, because you will have to battle that for the rest of the life of that strawberry bed. And a productive bed can be grown for 5 years or so. Even though commercially they usually grow them for less time, you don't want to have to be starting a new bed at home every 2 years. One of the other problems that we see with strawberries quite often is overwatering. So when strawberries are in overwatered conditions, we get chlorosis, which is that iron deficiency, the yellowing that you see in that picture. It can also cause root rots and crown rots, which no one wants and which will really cause damage to your plants. So one of the things you can do is to avoid saturated soils, only water the plants when they need it. And even though this mulch here, this plastic mulch, can be helpful in controlling weeds, it also really keeps the soil wet and it heats it up. So if you are using a mulch like that, you need to be extra careful that you're not overwatering. And a treatment can be a chelated iron micronutrient spray that you can apply directly to the foliage, but it's really better just to prevent it in the first place. So we love strawberries, so do several other pests, and some of the more common ones that you might encounter would be slugs and birds, and then to a lesser extent, there are some clever dogs out there that enjoy eating strawberries, and certainly if your strawberries are somewhere where passerby can help themselves, you might notice a few berries going missing. But the real ones that we're worried about are slugs and birds. And so slugs are attracted to the berries. They're also attracted to living in the kind of moist, mulched areas that often lie underneath a strawberry bed. So some solutions could be drip irrigation, so that you're not creating an entirely wet zone. Could also work on watering in the morning so that the plants are not wet all day long. If you watered in the afternoon or the evening, then you've got that wet night condition, and when slugs are active, that's just the type of environment they like. There are also beer traps you can place out and around in the garden to attract and trap the slugs. And as a last resort, there are some baits, though research has shown that the slugs definitely prefer a ripe strawberry over slug bait. So if you are going to be trapping or baiting slugs, do it before the fruit comes on. And then also be very, very careful when you're using those materials, because some of them are toxic to other creatures and pets. So you want to be very careful with that. Birds, it's actually much easier to control. You can purchase bird netting at most garden centers or online, and you just place the bird netting over top of the plants and secure it at the edges, and the birds can't get in and pick the berries, but you can easily lift off the netting and help yourself. And that might work for dogs too, but certainly not for the neighbors. Best thing for the neighbors is just to offer to share. So we have linked to a great publication that we have online through University of Idaho Extension, and that is Growing Strawberries in the Inland Northwest and Intermountain West. And this goes into much greater detail into the planting, the maintenance, the how to control the rows, and then goes more into some of the different pests and issues too. So if you are really excited about growing strawberries and want more information, that would be a good publication for you to check out.